So it's 10cc 1977. Following the split amongst the group of four that had smash single hits and albums, Godley and Kevin Godley, Lol Creme, left in 1976, and many thought that would be the end of this band, but nothing of it. Eric Stewart and Craig Goldman decided to keep the band alive, and they turned out a surprisingly solid album, Deceptive Bends, and I'm going to go through and review it and see what we've got here. The opening cut is the hit single Good Morning Judge, which is a really funky sort of pop sound with some stinging sort of guitar licks, and it sort of rocks away, and it's very appealing. Got a comical tale to it, and I'll refer to that when I get on to lyrics, but it was an encouraging start. It's a very solid track, Good Morning Judge. Got some nice hooks on it. Very solid rhythm section. Paul Burgess on drums, and it certainly suggested that they made a sound decision to continue. So, Good Morning Judge, the lyrics. Well, it's a whimsical take on a recidivist, a youth who keeps returning to the court, the criminal court, for misdemeanors, or getting into trouble, or when he's on a high of being with the girl he wants to be with. Nothing more, nothing less. Next up was, well, it sounded almost like a return to I'm Not In Love, really, but of course it wasn't that, but The Things We Do For Love, sumptuous, dreamy sort of arrangements for this pop ballad that sort of certainly has sort of spatial feel to it, and it's sung neatly by Eric mostly, and another hit. Listening intently as the pop really comes through, but there's a sort of chorus that's running side by side with the lead vocal that could have come out of Abbey Road. It's quite remarkable, really. Nice piano, jaunty piano, and then that moves into that soaring sort of chorus, which really epitomised what a great band these lads were. Certainly the song was a huge success, and certainly masterful pop harmonies on this track, but as I say, owes a big nod to the Fab Four. Lyrics then to The Things We Do For Love, well, it's self-explanatory really. The unpredictability of people, the things that they will do when they're caught in this wave of so-called love, and the lyric just trots out a number of the situations that young lovers find themselves in, and it's all defies logic really. Marriage Bureau Rendezvous, a sort of a little nod to dating services, and it's a lovely lilting sort of pop ballad. The melody's exquisite, and it's sang beautifully. It's also got a very summery feel to it, and the guitar is very tasteful. Certainly these two lads know how to put together a pop harmony, that's for certain, and this is another, and though this wasn't a hit single or anything, it's still a very solid effort. Yeah, it's a few minutes, 4 minutes, but it's beautifully constructed. It's got a sort of oompa feel to it a little bit. There's some really nice guitar pieces, and the vocal, it's exquisite. a lovely sort of pop song. Marriage Bureau Rendezvous, the lyrics here, well, it describes a person who's been, probably a male, who's been on his own for far too long, looking after number one, but now wanting a partner. So he trudges along to a marriage bureau, these predated dating agencies, and he gets matched up with their fantastic Q&A form, and after all that, he then ends up finding the one he wants by complete accident, which was how it used to be. So it's a bit of a sort of a nod to the past and how we should perhaps leave things as they were rather than to technologicalise everything. People in Love, another pop ballad, quite a lot of orchestration on this, giving it a sort of a depth of sound. It's beautifully put together. It gets a little bit lushy, but nevertheless, again, as a total sound, it's pop ballads personified, and it's certainly believable. People in Love, lyrics to this one, well, it's basically about the crazy things that people do when they're in this state, unpredictable, extraordinary, strange, different. All these adjectives describe how people behave and how different it is when they're in this state, and it's a jocular look at some of those examples of what they do. Next track's a cracker, Modern Man Blues, and yeah, I really like the change of pace. This is a typical of a sort of a McCartney style of song, but terrifically enjoyable. Yeah, it sort of epitomises sort of a barroom blues, lots of jaunty piano, throaty sort of vocals, and then it sort of takes off into a rock and roll midsection before returning to the slower blues riff. There's some striking lead guitar breaks in this, and I like when the two of them bounce off each other with the lead vocals as it sort of moves into towards the climax. Good stuff. So the lyrics to Modern Man Blues, it's basically a tale of the end of a marriage, the end of maybe a divorce coming about, and how that produces a completely different perspective on life, one that sort of suggests that one's glad to be rid of the partner, having more control over your own cash, etc. It's very much from a male perspective, and is a little bit, how can I put it, sexist. Honeymoon with Booty Troop, well, this is a real piss take, really. It's a beautifully constructed couple of minutes, really, bopping along with some outrageous harmonies blurting in between sort of verses, I guess, and it wants to generate a feeling of sort of dance, of naughtiness. It's a pleasant little number just to sign off on this very interesting side one. Honeymoon with B Troop is about a couple who decide to go camping, and they're not alone. they've got company, and it's a rather sort of whimsical look at the consequences of camping, the environmental conditions, and the freeness of being on a campsite when the sun's shining. It's all pretty amusing stuff, and that's about it. I bought a flat guitar tutor as a sort of whimsical acoustic number with some quite spontaneous piano playing, almost to illustrate a sort of a lesson in coming to grips with the chords and the frets on the guitar and the elements of the piano. It's a sort of got a very amusing vocal as well, with some harmonics that would have certainly been practiced in Beach Boys studios. It's all rather tongue-in-cheek, but absolutely delightful. You've got a Coles next up. Well, it's really fun-loving sort of pop music. There's some nice electric piano and organ on here, and again a nice mixture of solid sort of guitar playing, up-tempo lead vocaling, and the harmonies, which is one of the highlights of this album. They've really got that swinging in to flow throughout, and this track is no exception. A really great melody, it has to be said. Percolating pop is one description that I've seen, and that just about sums it up perfectly. You've got it cold. Well, lyrically this is a pretty simple one to decipher. I think it's about the impact that condition has on you, particularly if it's coupled with a fever, and how you are basically not enjoying life at all, with the high temperature, the sniffling nose, and the general malaise. The rest of side 2 is Feel the Benefit. It's 11 minutes. It's like a sort of suite with 3 elements to it that sort of takes you on a sort of journey really through symphonic rock, and although it was criticised, I absolutely love it really. It really is very powerfully put together, and it's got a lot of Beatlish techniques, Beatlish styles, but the quality of the music is first star, and it really is a pleasure. As I say, broken into a few parts. Reminisce and Speculation is the first part, and then a Latin Break is the second part, and then the final part is called Feel the Benefit. And there's some exquisite string arrangements courtesy of Del Newman on this track, and it begs for repeated listens, I think. The middle part, the Latin Break, it really does sort of conjure up that sort of atmosphere, that Brazilian style atmosphere, with the percussion, and it's got that sort of intoxicating beat to it, with the with once again the strength of the harmony vocals coming through. It really is quite magical. And either side, of course, there is that sort of powerful symphonic orchestral arrangement. I think it's an absolute tremendous piece of work. and it completes a very, very solid album, and suggested to all and sundry that this band still had a lot of life into it, even though it had been cut in half. The last sort of stretch, there's what I find a very appealing dueling guitar solo sound, where the two guitars are sort of out dueling themselves to a sort of a predictable rock beat, but it's really sort of strong, and I like it. The finale is, of course, the lengthy Feel the Benefit, which is broken down into 3 parts: reminisce and speculation. This is really all about looking back and on life, and hoping that you sort of used all your assets, all your skills, all your talents, all your creativity, and if that was the case, then the second part, which is a Latin break, you would have been able to have taken advantage of all the good aspects of life. The fact that you've got money to have holidays, to do interesting and enjoyable things, travel, and see the world. And the final part, Feel the Benefit, is a reminder that to do those, you need to take your opportunities when you get them, and make sure you're not impulsive. You need to take a chance from time to time. You need a bit of luck, but you can actually work your luck. It's not all down to luck. You can create luck from doing all the other things correctly. And that's my general take on the lyrical meaning of Feel the Benefit, the last track on Deceptive Bends by 10cc.